Aaron walked home under a pale streetlight, his mind still humming with the day's work. He had spent hours repairing old transmissions at the city's edge, and every step felt heavy with fatigue. The night air was cool against his skin, and a soft breeze carried the distant hum of hovercars. As he rounded a corner, something small and trembling caught his eye. At first, he thought it was a discarded toy or a stray bag rustling in the wind. Then he saw the faint glow of fur and the way the shape hunched close to the ground, as if hiding from the world. He paused, his heart twisting with sudden worry. The creature was no larger than a rabbit, but its form felt stranger. Its fur shimmered, in shades of silver and pale green, and its eyes reflected the streetlight like tiny pools of glass. It looked hurt. One of its delicate legs lay twisted beneath its body, and it let out a soft, choked whistle each time it dared to move. Aaron felt a surge of compassion he could not explain. He had spent years watching the city's abandoned corners, seeing creatures left to fend for themselves. Yet tonight, something about this one spoke directly to him, as though it reached across the divide between species and whispered, "Please help me." We crouched slowly, careful not to startle the wounded animal. His voice was gentle as he spoke. "It's okay. I won't hurt you." He held out a gloved hand, palm up, and waited. For a moment, the creature's eyes widened in fear. Then, with a whisper of effort, it dragged itself a few inches forward and placed a trembling paw against his glove. Aaron kept his hand still, his heart pounding in his chest. He could feel the creature's rapid heartbeat against his palm, and in that pulse, he heard its trust begin to grow. With great care, Aaron scooped the creature into his arms. It weighed almost nothing, like a handful of starlight. He supported it gently, wrapping it in the soft sleeve of his coat. The creature let out a low, grateful hum, a sound so fragile that Aaron leaned closer to listen. He whispered, "I'll get you home. You'll be safe with me." The creature blinked slowly, its eyes softening. In that moment, Aaron knew he could not leave it to suffer alone. He rose to his feet and quickened his pace toward his apartment, each step fueled by a new sense of purpose. Inside his humble flat, Aaron set the creature on his work table and gathered supplies. He tore strips from an old blanket, dampened cloths, with warm water, and found a shallow bowl for broth. The room smelled of metal and oil, but he worked to fill it with something gentler, kindness. As he cleaned the creature's small wounds, he murmured words of calm. "You're brave," he told it. "I'll make you better." The creature watched him with wide, luminous eyes that shimmered like distant stars. Aaron could see the fear in those eyes, but beneath it lay a spark of hope. Once its wounds were cleaned, he wrapped the strips of blanket around its body, creating a soft nest on a stack of pillows. Then he poured warm broth into the bowl and held it close until the creature leaned forward and began to lap at it. Each careful sip was like a victory. Aaron smiled, a gentle warmth rising in his chest. He sat beside the table and watched as it ate, its body gradually relaxing against the cushion. He noticed the way its breathing changed, becoming steady and calm. As the night deepened, Aaron refused to leave its side. He built a small shelter of tools and cloth to shield it from drafts, and kept a lamp's glow low and steady. He spoke softly to it, telling stories of his childhood on a quiet farm, of how he used to watch fireflies dance in the summer dusk. The creature's eyes seemed to follow every detail, its small head bobbing as though hearing each word. When the warmth of sleep finally claimed both of them on a worn stool, the creature curled safely on its blanket and felt a gentle thrill of wonder. He had meant only to help a lost animal, but now he realized that kindness could grow into something far grander. In the hush of the night, as the city lights pulsed beyond his window, he drifted to sleep, cradling a secret hope that by morning this small being would trust him enough to show him its true self. Aaron woke before sunrise, his mind already racing with plans for the day. The creature lay curled on a soft nest of pillows atop the work table. Its breathing was steady now, and the pale glow of its fur was softer in the early light. He gently lifted the blanket away and offered a cool, damp cloth to freshen its face. The creature stirred, blinking slowly, its eyes reflecting gratitude more clearly than any words could speak. He brewed a fresh batch of broth, this time adding a pinch of nutrient powder he had synthesized in his workshop long ago. Aaron set the bowl on a low platform he fashioned from spare wood. The creature shuffled forward, each movement more confident than before, and lapped at the warm liquid. Aaron watched with a gentle smile, relieved to see its strength returning. He hummed a quiet tune, hoping the soft melody would calm its nerves further. Once the creature had eaten its fill, Aaron cleaned his tools and prepared a small basin of warm water mixed with healing salve. He knelt beside the table and dipped a clean cloth into the mixture. With slow, careful strokes, he washed away dried broth and debris from the creature's wounds. Each touch was light, and the creature closed its eyes as though savoring a delicate comfort. Aaron whispered, "Almost there. You're doing so well." The creature's head lifted slightly, and it let out a soft trill, its own way of saying thank you. He remembered the broken leg he had seen the night before. With precise hands, he unwrapped the messy bandages and inspected the limb. The bones were still misaligned, but there was no active danger. Aaron retrieved a slender support brace he had crafted from flexible alloy rods. He wrapped the brace gently around the creature's leg, securing it with soft ties made from fabric. Scraps the creature shifted, testing its weight on the support, and found it easier to move. A spark of relief filled Aaron's chest. As the morning sun climbed higher, he carried the creature to a corner of the room where a small patch of sunlight filtered through the window, placed a shallow tray of fresh water and moss there, hoping the natural materials would soothe it. The creature sniffed the moss and then began to explore the small patch of warmth. It stood on its 3 good legs, stretching the injured one carefully. Aaron sat nearby, wiping sweat from his brow, and watched every movement with pride. Experiment in healing brought them closer, building a trust neither had known before. Aaron paused his work to gather scraps of cloth and soft padding. He constructed a tiny makeshift sling to hold the creature comfortably against his chest. He lifted it gently and wrapped the sling's ends around his shoulders like a shawl. The creature pressed its head against his heart, its small body fitting snugly against him. Aaron felt the rapid beat of its little heart, a pulse that warmed him more than any sunlight. He closed his eyes and whispered stories of distant forests and hidden valleys, places he had read about in old exploration manuals. The creature listened, its breathing softening with each word. He spent the rest of the morning repairing the broken machine parts that littered his work table, all while keeping one eye on his new friend. He hammered and soldered, pausing to offer small treats of broth and moss. The creature moved around the workshop, investigating each tool with curious eyes. Occasionally it would return to Aaron's side, nuzzling his hand as if to say, "I trust you." By midday, Aaron had cleared a corner of his apartment as a safe zone, placed soft mats on the floor, built a low fence from spare metal rods, and lined it with pillows. He wanted the creature to feel both secure and free. As he stepped back to admire his handiwork, the creature hopped forward, testing its mobility. It leaped lightly over a small barrier, landing gracefully on the other side. Aaron's heart swelled with joy. He clapped softly, earning a bright trill in response. That afternoon, with the creature resting peacefully in its new corner, Aaron sat at his desk and began translating alien inscriptions he had recovered from a recent salvage mission. He hoped the texts would reveal more about the creature's origin. The alien symbols twisted across the page, but his mind felt calm, centered by the creature's steady presence. As the sun dipped low in the sky, painting the walls with amber light, Aaron reached over and placed a gentle hand on the creature's head. "Tomorrow, we will learn your name," he promised. The creature blinked, its fur glowing softly in the fading light, as though it understood. In that quiet moment, Aaron felt a deep bond for one born of compassion, care, and the promise of discovery yet to come. Aaron woke to a soft humming sound that filled his small apartment. He sat up on the stool beside the creature's nest and watched as pale dawn light filtered through the curtains. The creature lay still on its blanket, but its fur glowed brighter than ever before. Aaron felt a thrill of wonder and leaned closer, careful not to disturb it. Without warning, the creature's body began to shimmer like liquid silver. Aaron's breath caught in his throat as the gentle glow pulsed faster. He held his hand over his heart to still its racing. The fur rippled, and its shape stretched upward, growing taller and more defined. Aaron's eyes widened, but he did not move away. He felt only awe and a steady determination to protect whatever would come next. Slowly, the creature's forelegs became two, and its small paws reshaped into delicate hands. The soft blanket slipped from its shoulders as its body curved gracefully into a humanoid form. Aaron rose, tongue-tied by wonder, as the being's legs lengthened and its posture straightened. The glimmering fur faded into smooth skin that shone like polished moonstone under the rising sun. When the transformation ended, the creature stood before Aaron as a tall figure wearing tattered yet regal garments. A slender crown of pale metal rested upon its brow, embedded with tiny stones that glowed faintly. Aaron felt his eyes mist over. This was no ordinary animal. He whispered, You are royalty." The being inclined its head in a silent bow, its eyes still soft with trust. Aaron remembered the moment he first found the creature, shivering and alone. Now he saw someone who had carried both sorrow and strength in its small frame. He stepped forward and extended a hand, careful not to startle it. The creature placed its hand in his and squeezed gently, a gesture of gratitude more powerful than any words. Aaron felt warmth bloom in his chest. The creature took a few tentative steps toward him, its new limbs balancing with elegance. Aaron could see subtle scars beneath its skin, reminders of past battles he could only imagine. He knelt beside it and traced one pale scar with his fingertip. The being closed its eyes, and Aaron whispered, "You are safe now." The alien royalty opened its eyes and gazed at him with deep emotion, a single tear of light tracing down its cheek. They stood together in silent dawn light, two souls from different worlds bonded by compassion. Aaron felt both wonder and responsibility settle upon him. He straightened and said softly, "I will help you find your home." The creature's luminous eyes glowed brighter, and it gave a soft trill of affirmation, both relief and hope. As morning filled the room, Aaron fetched a small mirror from a drawer. He held it before the creature so it could see itself. The being studied its reflection, touching the crown and the regal robes. Aaron watched its eyes fill with memories he could not hear but somehow understood: loss, exile, and the burden of a cursed throne. Aaron placed a comforting hand on its shoulder. The creature turned to Aaron, and in a trembling voice that echoed like distant chimes, spoke its first words in his language. "Thank you." Aaron smiled, feeling tears of joy rise. He replied, "Rest now. Tomorrow we begin your journey." The creature nodded and stepped back, settling on the blanket in quiet dignity. Aaron sat beside it, both of them gazing at the sunrise that promised new beginnings. In that golden light, Aaron believed more strongly than ever that kindness could change a fate, even one written among the stars. Aaron spent the morning gathering every book, tablet, and holoscroll he could find about alien languages and royal customs. He spread them across his work table, their pages filled with strange symbols, faded illustrations of distant worlds, and the broken histories of lost dynasties. The creature watched from its blanket nest, its pale eyes following each movement with quiet hope, his fingers tracing the angular script that matched the symbols on the creature's tattered robes. He read aloud the few words he could recognize: titles of honor, names of ancient houses, references to a curse that had turned rulers into wandering spirits. Each syllable felt heavy with grief and power. The creature tilted its head, listening to his voice. Aaron paused and met its gaze. He realized that every line in these texts represented a life like theirs: forced exile, stolen crowns, and the desperate search for justice. His own heart tightened at the thought of such loneliness. With renewed determination, Aaron set to work building a simple translation device. Using spare circuits and his homemade language interface, he programmed it to match the codex symbols. Two sounds the creature might understand. He adjusted tiny knobs and soldered delicate wires, all the while narrating his actions softly so the creature would feel included. When the device hummed to life, Aaron held it toward the creature, activated the first phrase, "I am your friend." A soft trill escaped the creature's lips, and the translation unit crackled, producing a voice in Aaron's own tongue. "You are kind." Relief washed over Aaron. He smiled and said, "I will help you lift the curse." The creature's shoulders lifted slightly, and its eyes glowed brighter with trust. In that moment, Aaron knew he had crossed a threshold. They were no longer healer and patient, but partners in a shared mission. Over the next hours, they tested the device on every passage Aaron could find. Each successful translation revealed more of the creature's story, once a sovereign of a moonlit empire. It had been betrayed by a jealous advisor and transformed into a small, helpless being. The curse had stripped its voice of power, leaving only a soft hum. As Aaron read these words, the creature bowed its head and Aaron placed a comforting hand on its shoulder. He whispered, "You will speak with your true voice again." Touched by its courage, Aaron gathered tools to begin crafting a reversal chamber and enclosed space where he could channel energy through the translation device and focus it on breaking the curse's magical bonds. He measured out energy crystals salvaged from old starship wrecks and embedded them in the chamber's frame. The creature pressed close, watching every step with solemn curiosity. When Aaron paused to wipe sweat from his brow, it reached out and gently touched his cheek, as though offering solidarity in his task. As evening shadows lengthened, they tested the chamber for the first time. Aaron guided the creature inside and activated the energy crystals. Soft light flowed through the chamber's crystal lattice, and the translation device began to translate the creature's hums into clear words. "I remember." The creature's voice trembled as it spoke fragments of its past, the glow of its palace gardens, the sound of loyal subjects chanting at dawn, the bitter moment when betrayal fell like a blade. Aaron listened in silence, tears in his own eyes. When the energy faded, Aaron helped the creature from the chamber. Though the curse had not yet lifted, they both felt a shift as if the creature's memories were closer to the surface. Aaron pressed its hand to his heart and said, "We will try again tomorrow." The creature rested its head against Aaron's chest, its trust unwavering. Late that night, as Aaron cleaned his tools and the creature slept peacefully, he allowed himself a moment of reflection. He thought of every lonely ruler who had suffered in silence, and how a single act of kindness had changed the course of 2 lives. In the quiet glow of his workshop, he believed wholeheartedly that compassion and determination could unravel even the darkest curses. Tomorrow they would continue their work together, and Aaron felt certain that dawn would bring them one step closer to restoring a rightful ruler to a forgotten throne. The next morning, Aaron woke up with a new sense of energy in his chest. He looked over at the corner where the creature now rested tall and graceful, but still wounded by time and curse. The soft glow of its skin pulsed gently as it slept, like a living star, hidden in his little home. Aaron quietly made breakfast, pouring warm broth into a small bowl and leaving it near the creature. As the scent rose into the room, the being stirred, slowly blinking open its pale eyes. It looked at Aaron and gave a soft nod. A wordless thank you filled with peace. Today was not just another day of research, it was a day of action. Aaron had stayed up late drawing a new design, something different than the healing chamber. This machine would be smaller, more personal, and powered by something far more rare, the energy of trust. He believed that if the creature could feel safe enough to open its memories completely, the curse would begin to weaken. The device was simple in shape, built like a glowing crystal disc that would sit close to the creature's chest. "Are you ready?" Aaron asked softly, holding up the device. The creature studied it, then placed its hand on his, guiding the crystal to its heart. Together they activated it. Light spilled across the walls, dancing like stardust. The creature closed its eyes and began to hum not just a sound, but a song full of feeling. The translation device picked up the sound and turned it into words. Aaron listened in silence. "I was once called a Lyra. I walked the marble halls of the Sky Palace. My people sang to the moons." The creature, Lyra, spoke slowly, each phrase revealing beauty and sorrow. Her voice carried dreams wrapped in sadness. and Aaron felt his heart breaking and healing at the same time. Illyra trembled, the pain of her memories surfacing like waves crashing on old stone. Aaron stepped forward and took her hand. "Not alone now," he whispered. She looked at him, tears like liquid silver forming in her eyes. For a moment, Aaron saw not a ruler or a strange being, but a soul lost in the stars. It's aching for home. As the machine recorded the emotional energy from her voice, its crystals started to shift color from pale blue to deep gold. Aaron watched, closely realizing the device wasn't just listening, it was storing the power of Illyra's memories, collecting the truth behind the curse. It needed more than science. It needed hope. Aaron moved to his shelf and pulled out a smooth stone wrapped in a metal ring. It was a heartstone, a rare item from his father's old mining days. It responded to human emotion, glowing brighter with kindness. He placed the heartstone inside the center of the device, and instantly the light pulsed stronger. Lyra gasped softly, her hands gripping the edge of the table. I feel it," she whispered, her voice clearer than ever. The machines. Light surrounded her like a soft cocoon, warm and golden. Her robes shimmered, slowly changing shape into something finer, smoother, closer to what she had once worn as royalty. Aaron stepped back in awe. Illyra looked down at herself and then at him, her lips parting in a small smile. "You are helping me remember who I am." Aaron smiled back. "And that's just the beginning." As the sun began to set, Illyra stood tall, her figure glowing gently in the fading light. She looked stronger than ever, still cursed, but no longer lost. Aaron handed her a cloak he had stitched together using soft fabric and crystal thread. She draped it over her shoulders, nodding with quiet pride. That night they sat by the window, gazing up at the stars. Aaron told stories of Earth, of children who believed in magic, and people who helped strangers even when they were afraid. Illyra listened with wonder, her eyes reflecting the stars above. In that peaceful silence, Aaron knew they were no longer just strangers from different worlds. They were a team. A friendship had bloomed, pure, deep, and full of quiet strength. The path ahead would still be long, but they would face it side by side. And somewhere out there, beyond the stars. Aaron believed that Illyra's home was already beginning to stir, waiting for the return of its lost queen. The next morning began with soft rain tapping gently on the windows. Aaron sat at his work table, carefully adjusting the crystal device he had built the day before. Illyra stood nearby, her glowing form calm and graceful in the morning light. Her robes shimmered with soft colors now, no longer dull and tattered. Though the curse had not yet lifted completely, something inside her had clearly changed. She no longer looked afraid. She looked ready. Aaron glanced at her and smiled. "I think we're close. Just one more step." Lyra walked over and placed her hand over his. "I trust you," she said quietly. Her voice was still soft, but stronger now, like a memory finally finding its place. That one sentence filled Aaron with warmth. He nodded, not needing to say more. He had spent the night designing a new energy circuit powered not by wires or batteries, but by emotional resonance. Invisible force of connection between two living beings. If his theory was right, the final part of the curse could only be broken through a bond formed freely, not through magic or machines. It had to be real. He placed the newly shaped device on a small pedestal in the center of the room. Around it, he arranged energy crystals, memory stones, and the heartstone he had used before. Then he looked at Illyra. "You'll need to step into the light one last time," he said gently. "But this time, you won't be alone." Illyra walked slowly to the center, her long robe flowing behind her like silver mist. She stood tall inside the circle of light as Aaron activated the energy field. Soft beams rose around her like golden threads, weaving a cocoon of warmth and memory. The room filled with a low hum, the sound of the machine listening for something deeper than words. Aaron stepped closer. Placing his hand over the heartstone again, "Think of who you are," he whispered. "Think of who you were before the curse. Let it come from your heart." Illyra closed her eyes. Her voice began as a whisper, then grew stronger. "I am Illyra. I was queen of the Sky Garden. I was kind. I was loved." Her voice echoed and the crystals around her pulsed with golden light. Aaron felt the energy swirl through the room, warm, soft, and full of truth. Then he added his voice too. I am Aaron. I was alone, but now I've found purpose in helping you. You are not forgotten. You are not broken. The machine trembled as the two voices blended. The light grew brighter, wrapping around Alira like a ribbon of memory and hope. She gasped as the glow entered her chest. Her hands flew to her heart, and for a moment her whole body shimmered like stardust. Aaron watched in awe, holding his breath. Then slowly the light faded, the machine quieted, and Alira stood still in the center of the room, changed. Her robe was now smooth and complete, her crown whole once again. The scars on her body had vanished. She took a deep breath and opened her eyes. They sparkled like the stars. I feel free, she said. Aaron rushed to her side, unable to hold back a smile. It worked, he whispered. You did it. Alira nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks. No, Aaron, we did it, she placed her hand gently over his, and for a long moment they stood together in silence, wrapped in the quiet power of healing. Outside, the rain stopped. Sunlight broke through the clouds, casting a soft golden light through the window. Aaron looked out and felt something inside him shift. This wasn't just about fixing a curse, it was about saving someone who had been forgotten, about showing that even the smallest act of kindness could lead to something beautiful. That night, Alira stood under the stars in Aaron's little garden. Her voice sang a soft melody, one of home, of hope, of beginnings. Aaron listened from the doorway, smiling. Her song was not just for herself, it was for him to forward to souls who had found each other across galaxies, and who had changed each other's lives forever. The sky above was clear, painted in soft shades of orange and blue as the sun slowly rose. Aaron stood beside Alira on the rooftop of his small home. The city below was just beginning to wake, but their world felt quiet and still. Lyra's robes flowed gently in the breeze, her crown now complete, her face calm and full of grace. The curse that had once trapped her was gone. What remained now was choice what to do next, where to go, and how to say goodbye. Aaron didn't want to speak first. He looked at the sunrise, pretending to study the clouds, but his heart was heavy. A part of him knew what was coming. Alira's strength had returned, and with it, her duty. She did not belong on Earth, not forever. Her people were out there somewhere beyond the stars, waiting for their true queen to return. Still, the thought of her leaving made something deep in his chest ache. Alira finally broke the silence. My ship, she said softly. It is still out there, hidden in orbit. I can call it now. Her voice was calm, but Aaron could hear the sadness behind her words. He nodded slowly. You should go home, he said, though each word felt like it carried weight too heavy to bear. She turned to him and smiled gently. I would not have made it without you. Her hand reached for his, fingers lacing between his. You reminded me who I am. You showed me kindness when I had nothing left. That changed everything. Aaron looked down at their hands and blinked away the sting in his eyes. I didn't do anything special, he whispered. I didn't want you to feel alone. That was special, she replied. Kindness is rare, even among my people. You gave it freely. She touched her crown, then removed it. Gently she placed it in Aaron's hands. This is yours to keep, a reminder that you helped save a life. Not with power, but with heart. Aaron stared at the delicate object. The crown shimmered with soft light, cool and smooth in his palms. He didn't know what to say. It was beautiful, but it also meant goodbye. They stood together for a while longer, watching as a faint shimmer appeared in the sky, a ship, slowly descending, cloaked in silver light. Alira turned toward it, her eyes glowing with quiet strength. It's time, she said softly. Aaron nodded, his throat tight. Will I ever see you again? Alira stepped closer and placed a hand on his heart. Look at the stars, she whispered. Every time you do, remember that I carry your kindness with me. That will keep us connected no matter how far apart we are. A soft wind wrapped around them as the ship landed silently on the rooftop. Alira turned one last time, her eyes shining not just with light, but with deep emotion. She stepped forward and wrapped her arms around Aaron. "Goodbye, Aaron of Earth. You will always be a part of my story." He held her close, feeling her warmth, trying to memorize every second. "Goodbye, Alira. Be safe. Be proud." And then she stepped into the beam of light rising slowly into the ship. Aaron watched until the shimmer vanished into the sky, leaving behind only silence and the crown in his hands. The rooftop felt emptier now, but not cold. Aaron looked at the stars, and for the first time, he didn't feel small. He felt connected to something far greater, a story bigger than himself, written with kindness, courage, and a chance meeting on a quiet street. He turned, walked back inside, and placed the crown on a soft cloth beside his bed. Then he opened his journal and began to write. Not an ending, but a beginning. The story of a queen, a lonely mechanic, and how their friendship lit up to worlds with hope.